there's magic coming. Oh, there's magic coming. Oh, there's magic coming. Where you gonna be tonight? Oh, there's magic coming. There's magic coming. There's magic coming. Get ready for the rest of your life. Hello and welcome to SassafrasCast, a podcast full of witchy insights to help you lead your sassiest life. We are here for the October 2022 Halloween special, and as my guest today, I have Shelby King from the Somnambulist Dreamcast. Everybody, please get very excited. I'm going to do excited like card noises. It's very exciting. Hi.
Hello, spook seekers.
Spook seekers. I love it. So friends, in a moment, we will begin the Witchy Weather Report. But first, a shout out to my patrons. If you didn't know, you can support this podcast at patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot for $1 a month or more. I record these episodes live, which we are doing right now. We're not at all disorganized. We're very on top of things. And my patrons always get a private YouTube link before each event so they can tune in a room.
From a long forgotten time.
Oh gosh, that's me. I did that.
Yeah.
Good. I thought that was you.
I
thought you were being moody. I didn't do that. That didn't happen. You heard nothing.
Or it just cut to the no.
Yeah. I forgot that I put it on the same track. Guys, we're I'm very professional. I do professional audio. Anyway. Okay. Patrons can hang out in the chat. They can ask questions. They can get them answered in real time. They can hear our bloopers, which I will probably edit out of the MP3. I will send you the edited MP3, Shelby, so that you can post it, not with my idiocy. Patrons also get access to a Discord server where we talk about all things witchy and wonderful, and a shout out in each episode. Here we go with the shout out. Thank you so much for being in my life, Amanda Little, Rachel Miller, Grayson, B from Whimsical Solace, Millie Orozco, Ruby, Rebecca Jones, Brittany, Hannah Westlock, Brittany Campbell, we got double Brittany energy, it's good luck, and Ginger Dawn Studios. You all are wonderful, wonderful humans. I'm so grateful, and I thank you for choosing to support this podcast. In just a moment, we're going to have the Witchy Weather Report, but I want to first let you know this is a dual podcast. If you can see me on the video, I'm like waving my scarf meaningfully. This is a dual podcast. It's a collaboration between me, your sassy friend, and Shelby King from the Somnambulist Dreamcast. So before we do the Witchy Weather Report, I would like to ask Shelby King to introduce herself and share a little bit about her podcast. You're on the spot.
Hi, I'm Shelby King, and I've recently started a podcast called the Somnambulist Dreamcast. It's surreal, poetic prose set to atmospheric music, and mostly it's intended to help get you to sleep at night. But I have been told that it makes for lovely road trip listening, but I don't necessarily recommend it.
It's a really great podcast. So you can search Shelby King. That's probably the easiest thing to do because Shelby, like me, chooses to put difficult to spell words in her podcast title. Sassafras Tarot. Does anyone know how to spell either of those words? No. But here we are. And the Somnambulist Dreamcast. I could take a stab. I feel like I do know how to spell both of those words, but I feel like I might stumble on it if I was doing a search. So if you search for Shelby King, you will find the podcast in your favorite podcast app. Yes, you absolutely need to start listening. Welcome. We have Brittany, patron, hanging out in our chat. Also, absolutely wonderful human. So let's get started with the Witchy Weather Report. I have a deck of cards that I was given by a previous tarot student. It was so wonderful. She just was like, I saw this and immediately thought of you. It's actually not tarot. It's an oracle deck. It's called Shadow Speak. And it is by Rebecca Schonecker, and it is literally an oracle deck that is all about shadow work. So if you know me, you know that like I'm already obsessed as soon as I open the box. And she was just like, I decided to keep her little post-it. It says Rorie. Well, you can't see it, so there you go. Good work, me. It's what it says on that post-it that you can't read because of my light is Rorie, much love, habanero. Habanero is the wonderful human who gave it to me. So I'm going to pull a card from the Shadow Speak deck. This is a deck of cards about shadow work. So I was like, ooh, spoopy. And I think Shelby has some cards too, right? Do you have cards?
Yes, so I will be using the Tarot of the Divine, and
Ooh.
that is by Yoshi Yasanti. And that was a Christmas gift from Chaka.
Ooh. Thank you, Chaka. Okay, friends. Brittany says, ooh, I'm looking forward to Shadow Speak Oracle. Me too. And by the way, if you are a patron, the bonus episode of today's broadcast is going to contain me talking a little bit more about the Shadow Speak Oracle and also doing a spooky Halloween themed spread for shadow work, because this is who I am as a person. So let's get started. Shelby and I are each going to pull a card. And our intention in pulling this card is that whenever you listen to this podcast, whether you're listening to it like in sync, like right now in October 2022, or at another date in the future, that this be relevant to your life when it comes up for you. And our goal is to just give some loving advice that will help us move through the coming weeks together. We're both doing some shuffling noises. It's the most ASMR I ever get, although Shelby's a little more ASMR-y than me. Brittany just subscribed to your podcast. Yay, I love it.
Woo, thank you.
Okay, I've got a card. Do you have a card?
I have a card.
Okay. What is your card? You go first.
I have the Five of Cups. Now, I don't know if we're doing
Ooh.
reversals. It did come up reversed.
Did it come up reversed?
Yes.
Let's share a reverse definition.
Yes, because I know that I'm very familiar with this card, and
You and me both, Queen. You and me both. So what I have, and I'm going to try and like diagonal this so it doesn't get washed out. This is from the Shadow Speak deck, and it actually is one of the lighter cards in the deck, and it says cherishing. I will take a moment to describe this card. For anyone who's listening to audio only, this is a simple line art, black lines on white paper. And it says cherishing, written in kind of a handwriting-y caps font in the bottom. And it has a face. It's like, is it a face or is it a mask? We're not quite sure. And a couple of hands surrounding the face, like in a, ooh, aren't I great, like cute little pose, with some leafies growing out of the face, as well as like a little vine and a flower coming around just under the chin. So it just has this like very loving, like surrounding, like you're embracing whoever this face belongs to. And it says cherishing underneath. And let's compare and contrast it with the Five of Cups, which is a little bit of a bummer card. Would you like to describe the card and share your interpretation?
so I will also tell you that this is a mythology and folklore deck. So it actually tells you what myth it is, and it's very appropriate for spooky season. So the Five of Cups is useless regret without learning. Jealous of her husband's new wife, La Lorna drowns her own children, and now her wailing ghost wanders the earth. She continues to wallow in grief, refusing to seek redemption or happiness. Now, we got this reversed, so we're okay, guys.
So it's reversed. So I feel like
Yes.
I can go two ways with Five of Cups reversed.
Myth.
Like it's like either you're stuck in it or like, oh, it's okay, you're gonna be all right.
Yes, and it's about, I guess, closure and moving on and learning to have closure, which I guess I could use some help with that.
Same. See also every song I've ever written. What I will share is taken together in context, we have cherishing and we have the Five of Cups. So what I want to ask you, friends, as you're moving through these next few weeks, if you are doing some shadow work or my favorite, accidental shadow work, right? When life throws you stuff and you're like, oh, that brought some stuff up for me. When you're doing some, yeah, if you're doing accidental shadow work, can I suggest to you a radical idea of instead of pushing yourself through it, cherishing the process? Can I ask you to love both yourself and your darkness and love all of I don't want you to love like bad people in your life, love yourself for even the maladaptive things that you may have done at some point in your life to like make things work, that maybe we're trying to get out of those habits now, but they were the best we could do with the tools we had at the time. The Five of Cups is about grief. It is about small grief that we can get over. It's reversed. So are we super over it and maybe we just need to realize that? Or are we a little bit keeping ourselves stuck in it? I'm suggesting to you that cherishing yourself and cherishing the process of coming to terms, treating it as a holy, sacred process, may help you in the coming weeks. Let me know. Let me know how this works for you.
Definitely relatable to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Feeling that.
Yeah, I know that Five of Cups sometimes gets downplayed as a card, as like, oh, it's like, don't cry over spilt milk. That's what I hear people say a lot about the Five of Cups. I mean, I like that wailing ghost though. Like, what a spooky, like, way to pull a spooky card with a wailing ghost for Halloween.
It's
Good
worked
work.
out. But yeah, definitely. I think we all focus more on our spilled cups rather than the cups that are full.
That are still full. Yeah, speaking of which, cheers. If you're hanging out and playing along, I'm sipping on wine. What are you sipping on, Shelby?
Just green tea.
Green tea in a
Right.
delicious skull cup. Let's attempt to cheers each other. Ready?
Oh wait,
Bonk!
bonk.
Bonk! If you're watching this on the YouTube, I'm sorry. Because we're terrible at this.
We got it on the last one.
We got it once. So, what Brittany is sharing here, also cherishing. Your shadow often ends up being parts of your younger self. So, I think that accepting them and giving them a hug and forgiving them for everything is nice. I really feel that. Like maybe cherishing you, inner child you, is the way to heal from this.
I think.
Ooh, a super healthy smoothie. This is
Oh,
like a grape smoothie that is not a smoothie and is also alcohol. All
I
right.
think. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say definitely. I think we have an easier time forgiving other people than we have forgiving ourselves,
Yes.
especially those younger versions that didn't, as you were saying, didn't know better at the time or were doing what they could with what they had. So, yeah.
I think so too. Let's cherish our hurt inner child. Let's cherish our grief. Let's cherish the part of ourselves that is grieving instead of being like, be positive and let's not toxic positivity
Or like,
ourselves.
suck it up. No.
Yeah, right? Let's just love ourselves. Let's just be friggin' nice to ourselves. Damn it. Um Chaka's drinking a simple glass of water. I like it. We got tea, we got wine, we got a super healthy smoothie. That's all of the 4 beverage food groups as far as I'm concerned. So we're very balanced. So let's take the topic of the day. Today's topic isn't a topic, but a story from Shelby King. Shelby took the time to write this story, and you definitely didn't hear me accidentally start to play it before. That didn't happen. Um, maybe you didn't, because I'm going to try to edit it out. Um, Shelby wrote a delicious spooky story for us for our Halloween special. That's what I try to do around Halloween on SassafrasCast. I always make it like special and fun and spooky. So we are going to share this story, and I'm going to be layering some spooky sounds underneath it. And then after that, we may be doing a little bit of poetry as well. So that is the main idea of our episode today. So here's what I'm going to do. As I cue up this story, let me drop the cursor. There we go. There it is. I am going to put on the candle cam. I have set up a camera. This is like the most unprofessional transition ever. There's the candle cam. Oh my gosh, it actually looks kind of good. Okay,
Look at
I
that
set up
flicker.
a little trio of candles so that it could look all cute and stuff for while we have this spoopy time. And I'm gonna make the candle cam the big cam. So I'm gonna take you out, Shelby, but I'll put you back in at the end of the story, and your story will be in. So we are going to hear. Shelby, does this have a title?
So we're just gonna call it nightmares because they're based on nightmares.
Love it. We are going to hear nightmares. Oh, before we do, we have been asked a very important question. What pretty rocks do you have around the candle today? We have, I believe this is chaoite or chaorite. It's hard to pronounce. It's purple. It's like chaos, but oh right. This is Blue Cat's Eye, man-made. And this is our good old friend Tourmaline. We love black tourmaline. It protects us from the nonsense. I always have some out. And yeah, we've got these nice little candles. There are 3 candles here, and I submit to you that if you're watching this broadcast or even just listening to it, that these are wishing candles. And if you have a wish for the coming year after this month's Halloween/Samhain, I'm going to just put that intention into these candles, that they bring our wishes to us. So please feel free to wish on these candles. Also, I have Met's colors if anyone like me is grieving right now. So, yep. All right, here we go with Nightmares.
In a room from a long forgotten time, walls stained with passing decades that can hardly contain all the lives taken place. The weight of expectant silence is broken by a metallic rattle. Slowly, I arise from the creaking wooden chair to survey the space for the source of sound. The walls yellowing with age, the color drearily complemented by brown accents, all accentuated by a hanging, dull, flickering light bulb. Each flash cast living shape in shadows as the light reclaimed the space. And hark, I hear it again, this time more persistent, the doorknob twisting, initially emphatically, with angry clicks and tremors. Startled, I stop and stare. The movement ceases. Holding my breath, I watch and wait. As if it were a probing eye, the knob rotates patiently from side to side, examining the room. The locked pupil completely useless. Its blind gestures stop, and softly, I can breathe again. I cautiously peel my bare feet from the distressed linoleum floor, sticky with humidity, taking a single step toward the door, pausing to take in the stillness. I move yet another step. Just a single pace from the door, a passing rustle can be heard just beyond. Lifting my foot, the sound of skin tearing from the floor seemed amplified in my ears. I cringed with the last step, then facing the stained pattern of the wood, I leaned my ear forward to listen. Faint whispers echo, straining to catch a word, but the hush was as indistinct as overlapping ocean waves. The voices seemed to quiet, and a small hope rose to my throat. Wrapping my grip gently around the doorknob, I press my ear to listen before I consider the turn. My fingers could not help but tremble as I cracked the door to peer into the hallway. There was no light. Opening the door with a soft push, it creaked, sweeping aside. Before me, over the banister, an endless winding staircase, consumed by darkness and an infinite drop. Along the hall, to the left and right, stood faded apparitions, each of them fluttering in front of different thresholds, their opaque shapes twitching between dimensions. Stepping into the hallway, dust on the wooden floor painted my soles, as fine cobweb clung to my ankles. The clinging intimacy of the sensation sent my insides aquiver with the discomfort of an ease. Moving with a slow tension, the nearly invisible tangled fine white netting spun by neglect and absence draped my bare legs with tattered adornment. Suppressing a small startled gasp as something skittered with many legs across my toes. The figures gently sway at the doors on either side of the halls, then disappeared and reappeared in short jumps, moving away. Leaning forward, the light behind me, too dull to illuminate my vision, I notice there is a slice of light from beneath one of the dark doorways. Contemplating motion in heavy stillness, a storm of noise burns through the expanse. Turning sharply, a small wooden television blazed with static at my back. A silhouette of a face began to show through, whose mouth twisted and warped the sound into a piercing scream that seemed to awake the apparitions from their trance state. Their glowing eyes shifted in my direction. In a panic, I slammed the door to barricade the screaming white noise. A blind estimation sent my legs sprinting toward the beckoning light. Stumbling through the darkened hall, praying as I throw my frame against the door, I fall into the room. On my back, facing the door, I kick it closed soon enough to see the anguished, transparent face flash behind. Laying back for momentary composure, catching musty gasps of air in my lungs, a rushed relief tingled with a lingering, heightened sense. And the door clicked, and the knob slowly turned. Jumping to my feet, I threw myself against it as it opened, twisting the lock shut. Panting with anxiety, I held myself there, pressing my cheek to the grain, perceiving howling faces and the dark, marbled pattern. Soon, the knob twitched with a hitting and thrashing effort. Backing away, still facing the door, mouth agape with disbelief, my hand grazed the wall behind me. Pressing my back against it, I slid to the floor, clasping my face with my hands to stifle any sound, then moving my fingers over my ears to muffle my pursuer's efforts. In time, whose measure is undistinguished in the rushing fear, I calmed. The phantasm seemed to move on. A crackling static singed the quiet. On the nearby mantel stood an old metallic radio, its knobs twisting of its own volition. Between the waves of noise, a voice pleaded through. A storm of static ensued, and between the waves there stuttered a piano melody. Then an emergency siren, followed by just the howl of a hallelujah, and the same voice rings through again. Help! Can you hear me? The voice, frantically rattling through the chorus of horror. The radio flipped through the stations again. The preacher is cut by an old jingle. The voice comes through, hissing again. Leaning against the wall, I slowly rise from the floor and take small strides to the radio. Now, There's only white noise. Waiting a moment, struggling to push out a whisper, blocked by a lump in my throat. I croak out a small hello, and suddenly the skipping voices return. They reverberate with harmonious discord. The house, this house, has built itself. Generations at the foundation, rising through the floors. There is no return to the gates. You were born to this place. There is no escape. This is our shared fate. Your fate. Wide eyes glistening, I back away from the messenger toward the door and reach for the knob as the radio resumes its screaming. Now, myriad voices screeching in unison. The door begins to rattle in its frame. Using my entire strength, I hold it closed. The ghosts beyond the door join the chorus on the radio in their spine-shredding song. The rattling becomes more violent as the hinges begin to quiver loose. Pushing back with everything I've left, tears streaming down my clenched face. Transparent hands push back, fingers sneaking their way through. Adrenaline sets my veins ablaze and I scream back, exerting a reignited force. But it is too late. The figures rush upon me in a blurring whirl of sweeping mists. I awake, shaken, sweat-drenched, panting in relief. 3 a.m. flashed on my bedside clock. Self-assurances hold no sway. An invisible, imperceptible weight hung itself in my room. A shiver shoots through my body, and the hairs prickle on end. Pleading with my nerves to settle, I close my eyes again, against the blue hour to negotiate sleep. Then at my bedside, the clock radio awakens with slicing static, and icy chill seizes my chest, taking hold of my heart in a cold grip. In sweat.
Whoops. And we're back.
Hello. I think I lost Rorie. Oh, there she is.
Sorry, I removed Candle Cam.
Ghosted us.
Okay, this one's gonna take some editing. That's all right. Y'all are seeing us live. This is more complex than I usually do live. Whatever. That was really fun. Thank you for allowing me to spookify your already spooky words.
Oh, I love it. You make such a good atmosphere.
This is like, if this was a thing you could do for a living, if you could just like show up live and make things spooky, I would like so. That is the job I want.
That sounds
How can
fun.
I update my spookiness resume? So I think what we're gonna do is share a little bit of poetry. You got some poetry?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have 4 poems.
Ooh,
and I put titles on them, which
cool.
is not typical of me. So I'm going to start with Haunted, which was written in July of 2020.
Cool. I want to make sure I have, there we go. I do have my audio back. Cool. I think you start and I will do the weird looping.
Sounds like fun. All right. Haunted. You cannot keep on mending holes in empty space. The foundation is rotten. The bricks shift out of place. Where do you begin when there is no fixing this? The blaze, a blessing. The fires pop and hiss. Charred remains crumble. Ash, ash, it's all that remains of this. All to dust underfoot. The bright orange waves, oh, the bright orange flames wave like wild kerchiefs in the wind, watching from distance. The ground becomes level, no place left to stumble. The haunted house is gone. The voices have no place to belong. It no longer creaks and howls. I will no longer bend and bow. There's no place for the scream to echo, no blame or weight to bestow. And is it really a loss for all the distress to maintain the mess and its cause? Upon the unnamed grave, rebuild your temple. I stumbled on some words there.
Rebuild your temple. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to bring myself down a little bit because I heard that some of the vocals are a little bit hard to understand, and I want to make sure that that is as audible as possible.
I am also untangling myself from my costume. Oh my goodness. There we are.
There, I have lowered me, and I might raise you as well. Edit mic settings. I'm going to turn... Say something, Shelby.
Hello, friends.
Okay, cool. I've raised you.
Okay.
I have elevated you.
Let's see.
Okay.
Alrighty then. So, moving on to the next poem entitled Dead Star. That was written in December of 2021. Nothing echoes back in a space so empty and vast. Tangled cobwebs strung to past. Clear the threads at long last, but the strings still sing. Sticky remnants pulled away, but the impression stands. On my tongue the taste remains of sour, sickly sweetness, a disease, a prison of need. Faintly, I still hear your name in this twisting, endless maze, in my frantic, disoriented craze. Sound so distant, the source is lost, like a dead star whose light traveled so far.
I'm like, what does a star sound like? It sounds like this. That's what a star sounds like, if you were wondering.
I do like that they do have the recordings of how different planets sound, and they recently had the sound of the black hole come out.
Oh, yeah.
We should do something with those noises.
We should do a black hole thing.
Black hole song.
Won't you come?
All
So
right.
I think we have 2 more poems, yeah?
We have 2 more to go. I'm moving on to Skipping Headstones. We dance, just skeleton. A flashing beat
set ablaze, humble hands held, cradled fingers, reading palms delicately, crossing feet step around the center. We rotate. Let us take our names from moss-covered stones and change the syllables to sounds we only know. Howl with me. Echoes resonate across space through which our outthrown headstones skip. Alrighty.
Okay.
And we're going to end with a poem from way back when, 2009, back in my college days. This one's called The Roman Facade. The ruin of your name. 1,000 faces break. Shattered shards of statues. I lay claim to this waste. Opening, unfolding, new fingers from my fist. All was merely ashes, dust falling to abyss. The Greek, the woman stands, carrying the Roman's mask, the hatred of perfection held within her longing hands. Porcelain cracks as veins upon his fragile face. Royalty and beauty were born only to fade. A body true to shape, female form from flesh of clay, every mole and black mark left open on display. His smooth surface is soft, but breaks to brittle shards. Inside he is nothing but empty, hollow, hard. He wears and she places the mask upon his face. His is the Roman's facade he puts on for parade. Melting as wax and heat, his face falls to his feet. Season peels pale skin, limp, whimpering as a rain-wet sheet.
Thank you, friends. Thank you for being here for our weird experimental art that we decided to do. I hope this episode comes out well. I'll do my best in the editing department. Thank you so much, Shelby King, for coming on and sharing your work.
I'm willing to re-record that first poem that I stuttered on if you want. Another time, but
you know what? It's like it's in there, but I can try to eliminate the stutter because it's
Okay.
the beauty of post-production. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm eliminating some of my own mess ups, so we'll eliminate many things tonight.
I had those two words. I was like, blah, blah, blah. I know what word you're supposed to be.
Oh my gosh. Story of my life, even when I'm literally reading out loud and I'm like, it's right in front of my face. It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So what I thought I would end this on is a fun little thing where we just talk about what are our Halloween/Samhain traditions. If you are a witchy person and this is a spiritual thing, I want to hear that. And if you are like a muggle, and this is, I don't mean to give any airtime to J.K. Rowling. I just think that's a helpful term. If you are a non-witchy person, then I want to know what your like just fun Halloween-y traditions are. Let me know, friends. If you're in the comments, let me know. Shelby, what are some of your Halloween traditions?
Well, every year, me and Chaka watch Over the Garden Wall, which is a delightful cartoon about two kids being lost in purgatory, and lovely Americana music, wonderful old school art, American cartoon art tribute, basically, and amazing cast. They have Elijah Wood as the main character, and there's Tim Curry, John Cleese, Christopher Lloyd, and even Chris Isaac makes a cameo as well. So good stuff. Perfect for the spoopy season, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. I might
I
have to check that out.
I've recruited many people to the Over the Garden Wall cult. So it's like I get messages every year now like, "Are we going to do a marathon?"
Oh
So
my God, I love it.
it's definitely worth it.
So Brittany says, I'm traveling to New Hampshire for Samhain. I'm actually part of the ritual this year. I'll be calling land as they're more Celtic than anything else. I love it. I love that you're calling land. I'm just so excited for you. That's so wonderful. I'm the Worst Witch, which by the way is a movie you should watch. With which also has Tim Curry in it and Fairuza Balk, little baby Fairuza Balk, like from The Craft, but like when she was like friggin' 6 or 7, is
Oh,
in, and it's like it's the cutest show. It's the cutest movie, and it is about like this young girl who gets sent away to witch boarding school, to learn how to be a witch, and she's very bad at being a witch. And it's like adorable. It's like an adorable romp. So if you are looking for something wonderful to stream, The Worst Witch. But
I'm gonna
anyway, this Worst Witch,
playlist.
yeah, you should definitely look it up. The Worst Witch. It has Tim Curry in it. Has Fairuza Balk in it. I'm always gigging on Halloween weekend. I'm always either performing or I'm like reading tarot cards at a party or something. So I never do anything. And I do kind of, one thing I want to do at some point in my life is have a dumb supper, which is like a Samhain tradition / folk magic tradition that involves, it's like complicated. I first heard about it on the podcast New World Witchery, which is a really wonderful podcast that you should check out. But a dumb supper is like, it takes place at midnight. You make a supper. It's like often if it's like a bunch of people, it's like a potluck supper. You all sit around a table and you're not allowed to talk for the duration of the supper. And like there's, depending on like what your, like traditions are, there's other traditions too. Like you have to do everything backwards. Like you walk backwards into the room with the food. And it's like, there's some folklore around doing a dumb supper and then like, being able to do some kind of divination about like your future lover's name is supposed to come to you or something like that. But I just think it sounds deliciously spooky. And there are other traditions that are just like, yeah, this is gonna open you up to some ghosts. Like go check out the ghosts, So one day in my life, I will attend a dumb supper.
Oh, I love cooking.
Me
So
too.
let me know. I'll make something.
Brittany says I was planning to have a dumb supper in 2019, then things happened. I know, things, man. One day, maybe we will have like a Sassafras get together dumb supper somehow, because I would love to make that dream come true. That spooky dream come true. And then maybe like a movie will come out about how that was a stupid thing to do and we'll all regret it because now we're haunted forever. Great.
I don't mess with Ouija boards because of that. I don't want to take anything home with me.
I feel you. I don't even want to say the name. I listened to a series of podcasts about Ouija boards and in particular, like a playful spirit. And I'm not going to say the playful spirit's name, but is it like a playful spirit or a super evil spirit that's a dark presence in your life? And I like, it just scared the crap out of me. I can't remember what podcast it was, but it was like well researched, documented, like about like different people's experiences with this spirit. And I'm like, nope.
I actually last year started listening to real life ghost stories when I ran out of spooked episodes from Snap Judgment. Both have really good ghost stories, and they're supposed to be like accounts from people who experience this. And there was definitely some talk about multiple people encountering like this one entity.
Yeah,
And
maybe it's the same one I'm talking
I
about.
heard, so I'm like, this sounds familiar.
I know, and I'm like, I'm not going to say the name because to say the name is to summon the man. I'm not going to do it.
No.
Brittany says, I always heard that dumb supper tradition is an ancestor honoring ritual. That makes a lot of sense. That sounds a lot more like a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Coming
I'm
from an
here for
Italian
that.
Hispanic family, the table wouldn't be quiet, or we're being quiet because the ghosts need to be loud instead.
Yeah, I am also from an Italian family. Like and anytime you're inviting the ancestors to dinner, there's going to be a lot of crosstalk.
And then I'm like, no talking during dinner. And I'm like, I'll just talk with my hands. No.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that we all get to have a collective dumb supper sometime, everybody. So I'm gonna let you all know where you can hear me, and then Shelby's gonna let you all know where you can hear her. Where can you find me? First of all, thank you for spending your time with me today. If you like this podcast, please rate it and review it wherever you listen to podcasts. That's really helpful. And if you could take a moment to share it with someone who might be interested and enjoy it, I would be so super extra grateful. If you would like to support this podcast financially and unlock exclusive benefits, you can do so at patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot for $1 a month or more. That's SassafrasTarot, because both Shelby and I have chosen to put very difficult to spell words in our podcast names. So I hope that you will either join that community or follow me on social media, because I'd love to keep in touch. You can also email me anytime at sassafrastarot@gmail.com. You can follow me on social media at Sassafras Tarot, pretty much all the places. If you would like to order a reading, you can do so at etsy.com/shop/Sassafras Tarot. Shelby, where can people find you?
So you can follow me at on Instagram. It's they.shelbyking. If you're having trouble finding me on your podcast platforms, I am on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, I think Podcast Addict as well, along with a couple of other places. But it is the Somnambulist Dreamcast. And if that is difficult, just search for Shelby King with one L and I should come up. And recently, not to be confused with the Sandman, came out with a Dreamcast as well. And I'm like, how many Dreamcasts are there? Okay.
That's enough. I did it first. The OG Dreamcast. Well, thank you so much, Shelby, for coming on the show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This will go out as a For Realsies podcast sometime on Monday, probably. So if you're a patron, you'll be able to listen back to this unedited version pretty soon. It'll start processing. But the For Realsies podcast will come out at some point on Monday.
And I want to thank you, Rorie, for having me on. And this was a fun, spooktacular evening.
Thank you. Thank you for making it spooktacular. All right, friends, I am going to lead us out with some spooky music.